Browns 18-13 winners here in Jacksonville and Mary Kay. We'll start with Deshaun Watson, who looked much better today, was much more efficient, and the offense ran much more smoothly for Deshaun Watson than it did against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 1.
Yes, he came in here really determined to rebound from not only the bad game, but also all of the distractions surrounding those new sexual assault allegations that came down on Monday. I had talked to so many players during the week. They planned on rallying around him, supporting him, and showing him that he is their quarterback. And they all went out and did that. He served notice on that very first opening drive that he was coming to play. He went out, engineered a 16-play drive, and scored a touchdown at the end of it.
Yeah, a really impressive drive. They possessed the ball for almost 9 minutes. They put up more yardage on that drive than they did in the entire first half last week. It certainly wasn't perfect from Deshaun Watson and this Browns offense, but just to see the efficiency, to see that short passing game in action, and to see that connection he had with some of his receivers, although he seemed to struggle a little bit still with Amari Cooper, but to see that connection with him and Jerry Jeudy especially get going, just this offense was just better.
Yeah, it was better, and they used a jumbo package in this game, so it was a lot different than what they did against the Cowboys. But you're right, he did struggle with Amari Cooper. Now, those two guys in the past two games have connected only 5 times on 17 targets for 37 yards. That's really not what you expect from your number one receiver and your QB1, especially with David Njoku out of this game. So it was tough sledding. He didn't have a great connection with Elijah Moore either. But fortunately for him, he found some rhythm with Jerry Jeudy.
Now, the good news is, too, the Browns got the run game going. Now, it was a defensive play that really stood out in the fourth quarter after Corey Bojorquez pinned the Jaguars at their own 2-yard line. Alex Wright on the very next play sacked Trevor Lawrence in the back of the end zone, came away with a safety. That actually made it 18-13, which meant the Jaguars needed to score a touchdown on that final drive, needed to connect on that final Hail Mary, which they didn't do. Mary Kay, I thought the defense kind of picked up where they left off in the second half against the Cowboys.
Yeah, they really did, and they were undergoing some adversity of their own in this game. Denzel Ward was in and out with a shoulder injury. Myles Garrett was in and out with a foot injury. But when they needed that big play at the end, they got it. First from Corey, the punter, which was amazing, putting it at the 2, and then from Alex Wright coming out and just getting that sack for the safety, making it 18-13 so that they were going to have to go the distance and get in the end zone. And so they came up big when they needed to, and I really thought the defense was going to have to do that in this game, and I didn't think they could count on the offense to do the whole thing.
Okay, let's hit on some injury news. You mentioned Myles Garrett and that foot. It certainly seemed to be bothering him today. At one point, he did leave the game, knelt down on the sideline, was messing with it a little bit. Saw him messing with it on the field a little bit as well. This seems like something that is probably going to be lingering with Myles for a little while.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it is, and I tried to get that out of him afterwards. He said, I probably will downplay it, but play through it. And we've seen him do that so many other times before with other injuries. But I think it's something that he's going to have to work through. He hasn't really shared with us how it first happened or what it's all about. But I think it's something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on with him.
Now, some other bad injury news. David Bell, dislocated hip. He's going to travel back to Cleveland with the football team. But obviously, we likely won't see David Bell again this season, Mary Kay. And it's too bad because the Browns obviously really like him. They brought him back onto their active roster, and he was having a nice game before that injury occurred on the first drive of the third quarter.
Yeah, he really was having a nice game, and that's what you need from a young guy like that when you see that Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson aren't really necessarily connecting with each other. So he was coming up big with a couple of catches, and so unfortunate for him to suffer this dislocated hip. It's a serious injury. You have to attend to it right away because you don't want it to get into sort of a Bo Jackson type of situation. So it requires immediate attention, sometimes surgery. We'll find out about that. But all he has to do is ask DTR what this is all about because he suffered one in the Christmas Eve game last year, and it took him a long time to come back from it.
Okay, big picture. The Browns are 1-1. They needed this win. There would have been a lot. We've talked about adversity. If this team were sitting at 0-2, had Deshaun Watson struggled, it would have been a very long week. But now here they are, 1-1. They've got a struggling Giants team coming to town. They will play the Raiders. Now, the Raiders did just beat the Ravens, but that's a beatable football team. And then they also play the Washington Commanders, who are starting a rookie quarterback. So, Mary Kay, there is a big opportunity ahead for the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, they can make some hay over these next 3 weeks, and things could look drastically different than all of the fans booing the Browns at the stadium last week during that Cowboys game. So they have an opportunity here, especially now with the Ravens falling to 0-2. We know what 0-2 means. Your chances of making the playoffs dwindle considerably.
It was these fans behind us that were booing today. That's good news for the Browns. They win 18-13. We'll have full coverage of the game at cleveland.com/Browns.